I'm joined now by Shauna Noonan. She is the Director of Artificial Lift with Occidental, but more importantly, she is also the 2020 SPE President. So we're delighted that you're here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time. Talk to me a bit when we look at what's going on in the market right now and the challenges that you look, and you look at SPE and you look at how, you know, the organization that it has become in the last few years, its relevance. Talk to me about the feedback you're getting, particularly from maybe some of our younger members.
Well, we've now entered into a new decade, and I really see this is actually an inflection point, not only for the society, but for the industry overall. Look what has happened to us in the last decade. We've had the digital transformation. We now have the Generation Zs coming in that are requiring different needs in order to enter our workforce. And then we just have, again, the negative public perception. You know, with social media, we are facing a lot more discussions than we're more than comfortable to. And when I say an inflection point, for anybody to succeed into the next decade, into the oil and gas industry, we have to change course. So some of the big changes, not necessarily us as a society, because as a society, we are supporting our members and supporting the industry. So we're supporting them to take charge and take hold of incorporating and implementing digital technology. We're teaching them how to have effective discussions with those in the public. We are helping to attract that young talent that we so need into the industry, and we're trying to facilitate knowledge transfer across academia, to companies, to service providers, because we are now realizing we wouldn't necessarily, we didn't say this in the past decade, but we are part of the energy solution. We are all working together to reduce energy poverty, and we all have to work together if we are going to deliver, because oil and gas is still a significant part of that solution, and instead of being in silos, we just have to be proactive and open up.
And indeed, I think we have seen, you know, a great shift with SPE. It's become, you know, much more of a relevant organization. But the exciting thing I always find here is how you attract so many of the young professionals into this organization. So when people are saying, you know, there's that big competition for talent out there, they probably need to look closer to home and actually see the great work, because as you say, you really do nurture the young professionals. And this is really a place where they can learn from the more seasoned people in the industry, let's say, and actually bring new ideas. And you're really actively encouraging this as SPE.
Well, I actually see they're being mentored by the older ones, but then the more experienced professionals like myself, we need to be mentored by the younger ones, because we're working with real-time data. We're having to make real-time, quick decisions. You have to have very effective communication skills. And there's no longer this working in an office, plugging on your computer, and then being able to ask around and get answers. And the younger generation, they've been able to embrace fast communication and learn to have a broader understanding. So while experienced people from myself can mentor and transfer that technical knowledge, again to this new decade, the engineer has changed. We need someone more well-rounded and has to have very good communication skills, and that's where we can learn and have these discussions. And when I just mean communication skills, I don't mean being able to have a conversation with a person. We are a much more diverse workforce. We have to learn to effectively communicate with different cultures, different genders, different personalities, because again, things are happening so much faster. And if you can't get your message effectively across quickly, it's going to be a lot more challenging for you to have a career in this industry.
Indeed, and looking at your career too, looking at what's impacting that, talk to me a bit about the technology. I mean, you're Director of Artificial Lift, so a lot has changed in terms of the technology that's hopefully made your job easier over the years. Much complexities, of course, in such a big job, but being able to gather the data. How has the technology actually, you know, helped, would you say, in terms of the industry? But when you look particularly at what you do, which is such a very, very vital and complex part of the industry.
I will attribute the change to two things. One is the advancement in materials, and the two is the advancement of being able to get the data. for me, with artificial lift equipment, the patents haven't changed in decades. Essentially, the technology is the same, but the operating envelope has expanded for us to use it in more applications and for it to last longer because of advancement in materials. And of course, that's looking to other industries that have done these advancements where we bring that in. The second now is the advancement in sensor technology as well as having it cheaper. So now we're finally getting all this downhole data that we've been guessing at for years to actually see and make improvements. So again, when people just see the artificial lift technology as being, oh, that looks the same as it's always been, when you look inside and see what we're doing with it, it is now lasting so much longer. And it's, for me, I'm very passionate about it, and it's a very exciting realm. And you know, about 90% of the world's oil and gas wells have artificial lift. And I highly encourage anybody that has an interest that you can have a very viable career in it because it's so exciting.
That's super. And of course, I'm sure you've been talking to a lot of people here in Dhahran in Saudi Arabia. The first time a conference has been here. And of course, it's wonderful that you start 2020 as president, you know, with this conference as well here to IPTC, where 4 of the big organizations, and of course, SPE a vital role within this. How important is it to come to an area here in the Middle East, you know, such a major producer, Saudi Aramco here, and be part of this, really kicking off a new year, kicking off a new decade in this industry?
It really helps us stop this premise of, if it's not invented in my backyard, it's not going to work. And again, we have to stop this discussion and realize that we can have learnings from other reservoirs and other basins around the world. And this is the beauty of events such as this, and especially with multi-society, because again, we got to stop those silos amongst the disciplines. If we're really to understand and extract the fluids from these complex reservoirs. I have been so impressed with this event here at IPTC and the support of the Middle East, but the fact that it has attracted so many people from international. This is the beginning of a fantastic future and a lot more events in this area. I highly encourage anybody to be coming to these events because it's fantastic.